Hey folks, this is Brian here. Almost hit RPG a day because I just saw that we're actually starting today. But no, yeah, but not for this one. I ran my Runequest Roleplaying in Glorantha, the Chronicles campaign last night. We were short two players. One of them was tied up with Gen Con, and the other one's still doing his training thing. But 3 out of 5. That's a decent majority, so we went with it. When we left the players, they had just been ambushed by some zombies and some other thing. They actually made pretty quick order on the zombies. The one that was down got hit one more time, it's out. And then within, 2, 3 melee rounds, they had all the rest of the zombies down. But there was this other thing there. It was big. It was heavy. And it wasn't all shriveled or decayed like a zombie was. It was just, mottled and fleshy and almost kind of oozy like. But Restra whacking on it with her axe didn't do any damage. It clawed at her and she did a parry with her shield that seemed to actually hurt. In fact, she did a good parry. I think it was a special parry. So it did enough damage to actually take the creature's arm down below 0. So a couple of people in the back kind of watch going, holy cow, what's going on with this? And she shouts out, it's not being hurt by my axe. There's some shifting around. Supatai shoots a couple arrows. I forgot the first round, but I remember the second round that he's firing in the melee. So he ended up hitting Otto, I think it was, in the back of the leg, but his arm was ripped off. So there's some more shifting around. Lars drops his spear. He was doing some 2x jabbing between the guys. Pulls out his shield and swings around and starts doing some shield punching on this thing. Otto swings around the other side and is attacking it, and it attacks a couple times, and they do some good parries. It had a decent attack skill, but these guys can parry pretty well. And when you parry natural weapons, the way it's written, you're just going to damage them. And I'm kind of thinking maybe, well, they didn't have any armor on, the natural weapons guys. So maybe that's it. If they would have had armor on, it would have subtracted the armor off first, kind of thing. Maybe. I'll have to think about that some more. But they managed to take it down. But Lars was very concerned that this thing is different than the zombies, and is trying to figure out what it is. He casts Identify Otherworldly Creature or something like that. But that spell is specifically designed for spirits. And this thing does not have a spirit necessarily. That's something else I'm going to have to think about. So they tie it up. They make a quick travois out of a javelin and a spear, and they decide, okay, we can take this thing outside and see if it burns up in the sun, kind of thing. He's afraid it's some kind of a vampire. So there's some discussion about that, and they say, okay, yeah, we need to recoup anyway. So they drag it up all this. It's heavy, and it's going to take them a while to actually get up all those stairs back up to the hallway. They wanted to go in to see the Manticore again, and she's still there. They walk in, light comes on, she stretches, oh, you're back. And Lars asks, okay, what is this thing? She gives it a name. Drugar, I think, is the word she gave, which doesn't mean anything to anybody here. And so he asks, okay, what does that translate into Hortling, kind of thing? And she goes, well, I think a name would be Lich. And the player of Lars started freaking out. Lich, D&D, super magic guy. So metagaming here, guys. This thing did not cast any magic at you, did it? No, it didn't. Okay, so it's not a lich like we would think in D&D, a lich, right? Lich, if you look in the dictionary, it actually means a dead person. And they kind of get around to that thing that, it's a dead body. I know that. Um, I don't think they did any more questions along those lines. But then they did ask her about, excuse me, the whole Sky Temple thing. And Lars kind of explains when the first time the party came here to the Lost City, um, they came down into a temple and came around into a cavern area where things had fallen down and ran to some brew there. And there were some brew further up in some kind of a building with pillars that was shooting arrows at them. Is that the same Sky Temple that she was given directions to? And she goes, yeah, yeah, that's it. That's the same one. Oh, okay, so we know how to get here next time. But they're going to pull chocks. So they drag the dead body down the hallway over the river, and they get to the stairwell that's the trap. And they're trying to figure out how can they get up there. What can they do? And Lars is actually thinking about taking 2 daggers and just climbing up the stairwell, and that would work because I would actually give him some kind of modifier because there are wooden planks. If he's sticking in between each of the plank, that would be similar to doing those peg hole climb things, right? And Lars happens to be actually fanatically strong. But then there's some discussion of things, and I kind of bring up Ingrillar, asked him how many rune points he had left. So he's digging through, and that got Lars thinking, yeah, we'll just summon the Naiad again. And he had 1 point left because he had summoned the Naiad twice, and that's all he's done. So they summon the Naiad again. She goes to Scorporate, goes up, recorporates, finds the lever, and resets the trap. And then they start going up. Now the way the trap is written, there's a certain percentage chance of it triggering again, and it increases as you stay on the stairs, right? But I'm thinking if you are in fact going up and down these stairs, you don't want that happening, right? So is there some kind of a latch on the trap or something else? And what I decided was because there's the portcullis there. The portcullis is up and the trap is reset. The portcullis becomes the lock for the trap because if the portcullis is up, you're going up and down, and so you don't want the stairs triggering. But if it's down, then you don't want people coming up and down, and so it triggers. It made sense to me, and it worked out fine for the party because then they could just they went up one at a time just in case because they're careful. And I did that because at first I was rolling for the first guy, and on my map I had the percentages as you went along, but I was trying to figure it out in my head because I forgot I had it on the map. And it almost looked like you were going to hit 100% chance of this thing triggering before you got halfway. And I'm like, that's not right. That's not right. And I was kind of rolling, okay, well, I'll just give her so many rolls. It was a restaurant who went up first. And, it was the second or third one going, that's going to miss. And I kept it at the flat base percentage as well, just to, have something then going, this isn't right. That's where I got the whole, okay, there's got to be some kind of a trigger that's holding the trap in place. Because if you are, in fact, going up and down these stairs, you don't want the trap triggering. So that's how I figured out. The portcullis was the answer. And so they all get up, they drag the body up. They go through the rope bridges and drag the body up. And they get to the top. So I was rolling for random encounters, and I was starting to feel more and more like the random encounters became more of a nuisance because they're distracting from the storyline. I'm not sure how I'll do that. But anyway, when they got to the top, I rolled, and it turned out to be not dragons. It turned out to be Trollkin. Trollkin are not going to be out during the day. But we just kind of, I randomly rolled to see what time of the day it was. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm going, okay, no, Trollkin aren't going to be out. No encounter. They finally get to camp. They pack up, and the next morning, they pack up and take off. There's an encounter roll for the morning. Something could have happened. Turned out to be Dark Troll hunting party. And that's when I started thinking, because I knew the Trollman would happen. The dark trolls out during the daylight. Well, they're still in the troll forest. Maybe, but I didn't want to dark hunting dark trolls and have a couple on because we're actually winding down at this point for the game. I'm going, nah, it's going to distract too much from what we're doing. So they travel to. It's not Darshfrest. That's the other scenario. They travel to. I forgot the name of the village, but a village, and the next day they head over to Whitewall. They get to Whitewall. They do a debrief with the Rune Lord guy that they've been working with. One of the things that he asks for, they gave a complete everything he ran into. He was very interested in a couple of things. I don't remember now what they are, but if you want to see watch or listen to the live plays in the description. However, when we ended play, I forgot to turn the thing off, and so one of the players and I are talking back and forth about the treasure chest they did find. I told them what was in there, and then we were discussing some other stuff when I realized the recording was still going. So you can just ignore all this stuff at the end. So there were a couple things that the Rune Lord piqued his interest, but he had a specific thing. Like, give me a layout of the death cult temple, death cultist temple, and and so they kind of draw a little map of things they knew. That there's hallways here, these rope bridges. There's a room here that's round, a room here over here. There's the stairs going down. Big cavern area over here, stone bridge, another room, hallway going up this way went to a cavern, hallway over here went to some stairs going down, and so they laid it all out. And he goes, "Okay, did you check out what was in that cavern, or did you actually go down those stairs? I'd like you guys to go back and check those two things out just to make sure there's nothing else done. This temple thing is done, right? Not worry about the cavern with the river. That's obviously something else. That kind of thing." So they get their debrief. They give back the two air spirits, and that's pretty much where the session ended. Like I mentioned, one of the players and I were discussing what was actually in the treasure box, and I had to look a couple things up, and they were just discussing things in general, specifically dealing with magical items. For example, one of the items in the chest was a bejeweled short sword with a 2-point blade sharp matrix on it. How much is that worth? On the market kind of thing. Which we got into a little discussion about on a Facebook post somewhere. There's a thing about, okay, how much do magic items cost? And what? You don't sell magic items. You sacrificed your permanent power for that. That's a piece of your soul. You don't sell that. And, a lot of people thought it was a little over the top, and maybe it is, especially when you're talking about a priest in Glorantha in Runequest, where they can get a new point of power every season, plus the sacred time. I mean, they can be, obviously, the chance of them getting, from an 18 to a 20, usually a 25, that's 5, 6, 7, 35% chance of getting an increase in power. So every 3 seasons, they'll get a new one. Well, 1 to 3, I think it is. Maybe 0 to 3. D3 minus 1, maybe, I don't know. I don't remember. But anyway, a chance of increasing in power. And then, do you really need to get that 19, 20 or whatever? No. Just, sacrifice for more rune points, or save up a couple to create magic items, that kind of thing. Get together with your fellow priests, you get 5 of them together, y'all put one in as a 5-point magic item, right? But we did find, because I couldn't find anything in the RQG book dealing with that, other than it costs so many lunars to learn a spirit magic spell. But as we were talking about it and we're flipping through and came across a section in the back, equipment and supplies, I think it is, there's one paragraph in one section that talks about Cults casting magic for you. And it's 20 lunars per rune point and 1 lunar per magic point. But if it's a 1 cast or 1 use spell, then it's 10 times that'd be 200 lunars. And so we were kind of postulating that that 1 use cost would equate out to a permanent point of sacrifice. So a 2-point bleed sharp would be 400 lunars. I don't know. It costs you 500 lunars to have, or maybe it's just 3. I think it's 500 lunars for the temple to teach you to get a power increase roll. To just get a roll, it costs you that much. So you're not even guaranteed a point of power. So there's some balance thing that's just out of whack there that I'm still struggling with trying to figure out. But anyway, I can't read the numbers, but we're in the teens, well into the teens. 16 maybe. But anyway, happy gaming and get ready for RPG Day 2020.